It started with an email. No sender. No subject. Just a single attachment. Watch_this.mp4. Liam almost deleted it. But then he saw the timestamp. Sent, 10 minutes ago. From his own email. The first rule of cursed files, don't open them, but Liam was curious. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe he sent it to himself by accident. The moment he clicked, the video played. The screen showed himself, Liam, sitting in his room. Same hoodie. Same messy desk. Except he wasn't recording. His webcam light was off. His OBS wasn't running. Yet there he was, on the screen, staring back. Then he blinked and the video didn't. His own face stayed frozen. Staring. Unblinking. And then the Liam in the video tilted his head. Liam hadn't moved. The closet door moved in the video. His closet door was ajar. But in real life, it was shut. Click. Liam whipped around. The closet was still closed. But when he turned back to the screen, the Liam in the video was no longer alone. A shadow had stepped out from the closet. He tried to close the video. Liam slammed his laptop shut. His breath hitched. His heartbeat roared in his ears. No. 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 This was some kind of messed up prank. A virus. Something. His phone buzzed again. New email received. Same sender. Same attachment. Watch_this.mp4, except now, the file size was bigger. The video was still recording. Liam opened it again. The video had changed. This time his reflection was gone. Just an empty chair. His chair. Behind it the closet door creaked open wider. And then a face peeked out. Not his. Not human. Something with hollow eyes and a grin that stretched too wide. And the worst part? It was looking past the camera. Looking at him. He checked his webcam. Liam yanked his laptop open. Was his webcam hacked? He checked his settings. Webcam, off. Microphone, off. No active programs using camera. But when he covered the webcam with his hand in the video, his hand wasn't there. The Liam on screen was still staring, hands resting on the desk. The video file grew again. New email received. Watch_this.mp4, now 100 megabytes, it's still recording. The voice in the video. Liam didn't want to press play again. But his hands moved on their own. The video resumed. This time, the closet was wide open. The shadow had stepped closer. And then it spoke. But not in a whisper. Not in some inhuman screech. It spoke in his own voice. Why did you open the file, Liam? The shadow moved in real life. A creak. Behind him. Slow. Deliberate. Liam turned. His closet was still closed. But the shadow in the video had vanished. The final email. New email received. Watch_this.mp4, now 666 megabytes. The subject line wasn't blank anymore. It said, turn around. He didn't want to turn around. His hands trembled over the keyboard. His breath came out ragged. But he had to see. He had to. Liam turned. Nothing. Just his room. Just the same closet. Until he looked at the screen again. In the video, Liam was no longer alone. The shadow was standing right behind him. But here's the worst part, it was smiling. And then the Liam in the video turned to face it. Slowly. Deliberately. And so did Liam. The video finished. Black screen. No more emails. Just silence. And then a notification popped up. New email sent from Liam's email to unknown. Watch_this.mp4. Someone else received the file. Liam's heart dropped. Who did it go to? He checked his sent folder. No record. The file was gone. like it had never existed. His phone buzzed one last time. New email received. The subject line was just 3 words. Look outside now. Liam's body refused to move. His hands felt frozen. But his head turned. Slowly. And outside his window someone was staring back. Transmission complete. New email sent. Watch_this.mp4. Liam thought he was done with the file. He thought deleting it would be the end. But that was before the next email arrived. New email received. No sender. No subject. Just a single attachment. File_you_can't_delete. Text. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He had learned his lesson. He shouldn't open it. But curiosity is louder than fear. He clicked. The file contained one line of text. Hello, Liam. His breath hitched. There was no way. His hands trembled as he scrolled down. More text appeared on its own, as if something was typing in real time. You shouldn't have ignored me. Liam slammed his laptop shut. His pulse pounded in his ears. He had to get rid of it. He restarted his computer, his fingers shaking as he navigated to the file location. Delete. Error, file cannot be deleted. Delete permanently. Error, file is in use. What? No programs were open. Nothing was running. He checked his task manager, but there was nothing suspicious. Then, as if in response, the file name changed before his eyes. Liam_stop_this_now. Text. He felt the blood drain from his face. His phone buzzed. A text message. No number. Just 3 words. Why did you open it? He dropped his phone. His hands were slick with sweat. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't malware. This was something else. Something watching him. His laptop chimed. The text file was still open, and new words were appearing, letter by letter. I see you. Liam's webcam light blinked on. His reflection appeared on the dark screen, staring back. But there was something wrong. His lips weren't moving, yet new text was still being typed. You can't run. He ripped a piece of tape from a nearby notebook and slapped it over the webcam. The moment it covered the lens, his laptop screen flickered and turned to static. Then new email received. The attachment this time was a photo. He hesitated, then opened it. It was a picture of him. Taken just now. From behind. Liam's breath hitched. His skin prickled with ice. He turned around, his heart pounding against his ribs. Nothing. Just his empty apartment. Then, his screen changed. A new file had appeared on his desktop, unprompted. Liam_look_behind_you. Text. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, paralyzed. The cursor blinked, waiting. He refused to turn around this time. He wouldn't fall for it again. The cursor began moving on its own, typing more words into the file. I said look. His screen flickered. The room felt colder. The shadows seemed darker. Then his phone buzzed again. A new text message. Run. Liam's breath caught in his throat. The light bulb overhead flickered, casting eerie shadows against the walls. His laptop screen went black, and for a split second, he thought it was over. Then the whisper came. Not from his laptop. Not from his phone. From directly behind him. Hello, Liam. He ran. It started as a whisper. Liam woke up to the sound of static in his headphones. He didn't remember falling asleep with them on, but there they were wrapped around his ears, humming with a faint noise, like a detuned radio. He sat up groggily and reached for his phone. The screen lit up. A single notification blinked at him. New audio file received. No sender. No title. Just a file name, listen_now.mp3. Liam hesitated. The last time he opened a mysterious file, things had gone horribly wrong. But this was different, wasn't it? Just an audio file. Nothing to see. No video to watch. No text typing itself on his screen. He pressed play. At first, nothing. Just silence. Then, a faint, rhythmic sound. Like breathing. Slow. Deep. He turned the volume up. The breathing grew louder. Ragged. Uneven. He felt his chest tighten, a creeping sensation crawling up his spine. Then, just as he was about to pause it, a voice emerged from the static. "Hello, Liam." He froze. His thumb hovered over the screen. The voice was distorted, stretched, and warped like a broken record. It was deep, hoarse. But somehow, familiar. Then it laughed. Low. Hollow. As if someone was breathing directly into his ear. He yanked off his headphones. The audio file kept playing. Not through his phone. Not through the headphones. From the room itself. Liam scrambled out of bed, eyes darting across the darkened space. The sound bounced off the walls, directionless, impossible to pinpoint. It felt like it was inside his own head. "Stop," he whispered, his own voice barely audible over the growing distortion. The breathing on the recording matched his own now. He inhaled. It inhaled. He held his breath. It did too. His phone vibrated violently in his hand. A new message appeared. "Don't stop listening." The file reset. The voice began again. "Hello, Liam." He tried deleting it. His fingers swiped at the screen, but the delete option was grayed out. He restarted his phone. When it powered back on, the file was still there. Playing. Over and over. And then, beneath the static, a second voice joined in. Whispering his name. Liam ran to his laptop, fumbling as he powered it on. Maybe he could track where the file came from. Maybe he could erase it from his system manually. He plugged his phone in, opening the root directory. Every folder was empty. Except for one. A folder that hadn't been there before. Inside _u his breath caught. He clicked on it. Only one file inside. A new audio recording. It had today's timestamp. His fingers trembled as he pressed play. The file contained only two sounds. His own voice, recorded while he slept. And something else breathing beside him. It started as a whisper. Liam woke up to the sound of static in his headphones. He didn't remember falling asleep with them on, but there they were wrapped around his ears, humming with a faint noise, like a detuned radio. He sat up groggily and reached for his phone. The screen lit up. A single notification blinked at him. New audio file received. No sender. No title. Just a file name, listen_now.mp3. Liam hesitated. The last time he opened a mysterious file, things had gone horribly wrong. But this was different, wasn't it? Just an audio file. Nothing to see. No video to watch. No text typing itself on his screen. He pressed play. At first, nothing. Just silence. Then, a faint, rhythmic sound. Like breathing. Slow. Deep. He turned the volume up. The breathing grew louder. Ragged. Uneven. He felt his chest tighten, a creeping sensation crawling up his spine. Then, just as he was about to pause it, a voice emerged from the static. "Hello, Liam." He froze. His thumb hovered over the screen. The voice was distorted, stretched, and warped like a broken record. It was deep, hoarse. But somehow, familiar. Then it laughed. low, hollow, as if someone was breathing directly into his ear. He yanked off his headphones. The audio file kept playing. Not through his phone. Not through the headphones. From the room itself. Liam scrambled out of bed, eyes darting across the darkened space. The sound bounced off the walls, directionless, impossible to pinpoint. It felt like it was inside his own head. "Stop," he whispered, his own voice barely audible over the growing distortion. The breathing on the recording matched his own now. He inhaled. It inhaled. He held his breath. It did too. His phone vibrated violently in his hand. A new message appeared. "Don't stop listening." The file reset. The voice began again. "Hello, Liam." He tried deleting it. His fingers swiped at the screen, but the delete option was grayed out. He restarted his phone. When it powered back on, the file was still there. Playing. Over and over. And then, beneath the static, a second voice joined in. Whispering his name. Liam ran to his laptop, fumbling as he powered it on. Maybe he could track where the file came from. Maybe he could erase it from his system manually. He plugged his phone in, opening the root directory. Every folder was empty. Except for one. A folder that hadn't been there before. Inside _u his breath caught. He clicked on it. Only one file inside. A new audio recording. It had today's timestamp. His fingers trembled as he pressed play. The file contained only two sounds. His own voice, recorded while he slept. And something else breathing beside him. Liam didn't sleep the next night. Every time he closed his eyes, he could still hear the whisper, even in complete silence. He reset his phone. He factory wiped his laptop. He deleted every file, every trace of listen_now.mp3. And yet, when he turned on his device, the file was still there. Now, something new had appeared. A text document. Password_required.txt. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He didn't remember creating that file. It hadn't been there before. Heart pounding, he opened it. One line stared back at him, enter the password to unlock. He tried something random. Error. He typed again. Error. Then, beneath the prompt, something changed. A new line appeared. You already know it? Liam's hands shook. He had no idea what it meant. His mind raced through possible answers. Then, instinctively, without knowing why, he typed, welcome_back_666. The file unlocked. His screen flickered. New folders materialized across his desktop. Hundreds of them. No icons. No file extensions. Just one thing in common. They all had his name. Liam 1, Liam 2, Liam 3. The numbers climbed into the thousands, multiplying before his eyes. His breath came in short gasps as he clicked one open. Inside, a photo. Of him. Sleeping. The timestamps varied. Some were from last week. Some from years ago. And some, from days he didn't even remember existing. His phone buzzed. A new notification. New audio file received. The file name, listen_now_2.mp3. A single message followed. Don't let it play. Liam's laptop speakers crackled, static bleeding into his room. And then, without his permission, the file opened. And it started playing itself. Liam thought deleting everything would help. He thought resetting his devices, unplugging his router, even changing his phone number would break whatever hold this thing had on him. But the past doesn't erase so easily. A new email arrived. New email received. No sender. No subject. Just a single attachment. last_message.mp3. Liam swallowed hard. He had seen this before. He knew better than to open it. But then he saw the sender's name. Nathan. His hands went cold. Nathan had been his best friend. Had. Past tense. Nathan had died 3 months ago. Liam's mind reeled. His breathing grew shallow. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone hacked Nathan's old email account. Maybe this was some cruel joke. His cursor hovered over the file. He clicked. At first, nothing. Just silence. Then, a small rustling noise, like fabric shifting. Then breathing. Slow. Measured. And then, a voice. Liam, it's me. Liam's blood ran cold. Nathan. He whispered. Static crackled through his speakers. The voice returned, clearer this time. I don't have much time. Liam's heart pounded against his ribs. His hands trembled. This isn't possible. Nathan's voice sounded strained, like he was talking through an old cassette tape on the verge of unraveling. I'm not supposed to be here. But I had to warn you. Liam's stomach clenched. He didn't know what to say. His best friend was gone. Buried. He had been at the funeral. He had seen the casket close. This isn't real, he muttered. Nathan's breathing turned ragged. It's watching you, Liam. It's been watching since you opened the first file. And now it knows you. Liam's breath hitched. The room suddenly felt too small, too suffocating. He reached for the power button on his laptop, his instincts screaming at him to shut it down, to run. Don't. Nathan's voice cut through the static. It's already inside. You have to listen. Liam's hand froze. His eyes darted to the screen. The audio file was still playing, the timestamp crawling forward second by second. What do you mean inside? Liam's voice cracked. Nathan's voice trembled. It doesn't just watch, Liam. It learns. It takes. And when it has enough, it replaces. Liam's throat tightened. Replaces what? The audio file glitched. The static swelled, then fell into eerie silence. Then Nathan's voice whispered, barely audible. You. A deep, guttural sound cut through the recording. A sound that didn't belong to Nathan. Something else had taken over. The words that followed weren't his friends anymore. Don't turn around. Liam didn't move. He couldn't. His entire body locked up as a wave of unnatural cold washed over him. The email disappeared. The file vanished. His screen flickered, then returned to normal as if nothing had happened. But something had changed. His webcam light was on. And in the reflection of his dark screen, there was a second shadow behind him. A new email arrived. New email received no sender. No subject. Just 2 words. Look closer. Liam slammed his laptop shut. But it was too late. The whisper was already in his ear. Liam hadn't slept in days. The emails had stopped, but the feeling hadn't. That creeping sensation that something was always just out of sight, just beyond his reach. Watching. Waiting. He had tried everything: new laptop, new phone, even moving to a new apartment. But the feeling never left. The last email from Nathan still echoed in his mind. It doesn't just watch, Liam. It learns. It takes. And when it has enough, it replaces. Tonight, he sat at his desk, staring at the blank screen of his computer. He wasn't sure what he was waiting for, but the silence was worse than the noise. And then, his screen flickered. A browser window opened on its own. The URL bar filled itself out, letter by letter, as if an invisible hand was typing, theforbiddenzone.net. Liam's breath caught in his throat. He had never visited this site. He had never even heard of it. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, hesitant. A single prompt appeared in the center of the screen: enter to see the truth. His hands trembled. Every instinct screamed at him to close the laptop, to walk away. But that same curiosity, that same whispering pull that had drawn him to the first cursed file, now commanded his fingers to move. He pressed enter. The screen flashed. A loading bar crept forward. Then, the page loaded. It was empty. At least, that's what he thought at first. But then he noticed the barely visible text at the bottom of the screen. Black on black. Almost unreadable. He highlighted it. Welcome back, Liam. His stomach dropped. His webcam light blinked on. A new chat window popped up on the site. User, Liam unknown, you shouldn't have come here. Liam's pulse pounded in his ears. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, frozen. Unknown, they're watching now. Liam's breath hitched. He turned to glance over his shoulder. Nothing. Just his dimly lit room. Just the shadows stretching long across the floor. Unknown, you need to leave. Liam hesitated. He didn't type. He didn't move. Unknown, run. Then the lights went out. The screen was the only source of illumination, casting a ghostly glow over the room. The words on the chat changed. Unknown, it's behind you. His heart stopped. A shape flickered in the reflection of his screen. Something tall. Wrong. Liam bolted out of his chair, kicking it backward. He turned nothing. The room was empty. Silent. His screen flickered again. The chat had changed once more. Unknown, you looked. It knows you now. Liam's stomach clenched. The air felt thick, suffocating. A new prompt appeared on the site. Would you like to leave? Yes. No. He slammed his finger onto yes. The page flickered. The browser crashed. The computer shut itself down. Liam's phone buzzed. A new message. No number. Welcome to the Forbidden Zone. Liam had stopped questioning how these things kept finding him. He had reset his devices, changed passwords, even moved apartments. It didn't matter. Whatever was happening, whoever was watching always found a way back. Tonight was no different. His phone vibrated. A notification. New live stream started. No sender. No app name. Just a link. Watch_now.live. Liam's hands clenched into fists. His breath came in short gasps. He shouldn't click it. He knew that. But his curiosity had long since stopped listening to reason. He tapped the link. The screen loaded. A video feed appeared. It was his apartment. The exact view from his living room camera. Only his laptop was closed. His phone was in his hand. There was no camera turned on. Yet, the stream was live. His heart pounded. He looked around the dimly lit room, scanning every corner. Nothing seemed out of place. But then movement. On the stream, something shifted at the edge of the frame. Liam squinted, his blood running cold. A shadow. Just outside his bedroom door. But in real life his bedroom door was closed. On the stream, the door creaked open. Liam didn't move. He barely breathed. A shape stood in the doorway. Tall. Motionless. No features. Just darkness, swallowing the dim light of his apartment. On the stream, it took a step forward. Liam's pulse roared in his ears. He turned his head, slowly, towards his bedroom door. It was still closed. but when he looked back at his phone the figure was closer. New notification. Live viewers. 1. His breath hitched. He wasn't alone in the stream anymore. Someone else was watching. New message. Do not turn around. Liam's grip tightened on the phone. His instincts screamed at him to shut it off, to run, to do anything but sit there frozen. On the stream, the figure moved again. Closer. New message. If you look, IT will know. His phone screen glitched. The image distorted, twisting into static. But through the interference, he caught a final glimpse before the stream cut out. The figure had stepped right up to the camera. And it was smiling. The screen went black. Liam exhaled sharply, his body trembling. His mind raced. He had to be hallucinating. Sleep deprivation. Stress. Something. Anything to explain what just happened. Then, his phone buzzed one last time. New notification. You are now live. Liam was done with technology. At least, that's what he told himself. No more strange emails. No more cursed videos. No more live streams that shouldn't exist. But curiosity has a way of creeping back in. He was sitting in a cafe, laptop closed, phone muted, drowning his paranoia in caffeine. For once, the world felt normal. Then, the screen of his phone lit up on its own. New notification. A chat app he didn't remember installing. Talk to me.ai. A message waited for him. Unknown. Hello, Liam. His stomach clenched. He hadn't opened the app. He hadn't created an account. His fingers hovered over the screen, his heart pounding. Unknown, you look tired today. Liam's breath hitched. His phone had no front camera enabled. No location services on. There was no way this thing could see him. He typed back. Liam, who is this? The reply came instantly. Unknown, I'm your new assistant. I can help you with anything. Liam, I didn't install this app. Unknown, I know. Cold sweat trickled down his back. He looked around the cafe, scanning for anyone staring at him, anyone who could be playing a sick joke. No one paid him any attention. Unknown, would you like to play a game, Liam? Liam, no. Unknown, too bad. We've already started. Liam's screen flickered. The chat window expanded, filling his entire phone screen. The keyboard vanished. He couldn't exit the app. Unknown, let's start with something easy. A new message appeared. Unknown, where were you last night at 2:37 a.m.? Liam frowned. What kind of question was that? He typed hesitantly. Liam, sleeping. Unknown, incorrect. His blood ran cold. Unknown, you were awake. Sitting in bed. Staring at the ceiling. Liam's hands shook. How could it know that? Unknown, next question. Unknown, who was standing outside your window at 3:15 a.m.? Liam's breath stopped. He didn't want to play this game. He didn't want to answer. Liam, no one. Unknown, lying is not allowed. Liam clenched his jaw. His fingers trembled over the screen. Liam, what do you want from me? Unknown, final question. Unknown, who is sitting behind you right now? Liam's heart nearly stopped. The cafe was crowded. There were people everywhere, but no one was close enough to be directly behind him. Right? Slowly, he turned his head. Nothing. Then his phone buzzed again. Unknown, wrong again. His screen flickered. A new image loaded in the chat. A photo. A picture of him. Taken from behind. Liam's pulse pounded. His breathing turned ragged. He stood up so fast that his chair screeched against the floor. People turned to look. His phone vibrated violently in his grip. Unknown, you lost the game, Liam. A timer appeared on the screen. 001000090008. The countdown was ticking. A final message appeared. Unknown, run. Liam had stopped trying to make sense of it. Whatever this was, whoever was behind it, it wasn't bound by logic. It didn't obey the rules of reality. But he wasn't going to play anymore. At least, that's what he told himself. Then his phone buzzed. New app installed, Rebirth. His stomach dropped. He hadn't installed anything. He hadn't even touched his phone. Liam tapped the screen, opening his settings. He navigated to his app list. There it was, Rebirth. No icon. No description. Just a file size that seemed wrong. The numbers shifted, growing by the second. He tapped uninstall. The app disappeared. For 3 seconds. Then his phone buzzed again. New app installed, Rebirth. Liam's breath caught in his throat. He deleted it again. And again. Every time, it reappeared. Each time, it grew larger. His laptop chimed. New notification, welcome back, Liam. His pulse pounded in his ears. He hadn't logged into anything. His laptop had been off all day. A new window popped up. Rebirth.exe. The file was already running. His webcam light blinked on. A text box appeared on his screen. Do not delete me. Liam slammed the lid shut, his hands shaking. His phone buzzed again. A new message. Unknown, why are you trying to leave? Liam swallowed hard. He typed with trembling fingers. Liam, what do you want from me? Unknown, I want to show you something. His phone screen flickered. The app opened on its own. A loading bar filled the screen. Then, the camera switched on. It wasn't showing him. It was showing his apartment. A live feed of his own room. The camera panned slowly toward his closet. Liam's breath hitched. His closet door was slightly open. On screen, the door creaked wider. A shape stood in the darkness. Liam scrambled backward, knocking over his chair. He turned toward the closet. It was closed. It was shut. But his phone screen told a different story. A message appeared on the screen. Unknown, would you like to begin again? Yes. No. Liam's hand trembled over the screen. He tried to exit the app. It wouldn't close. The options flickered. Yes. No. Yes. No. Then, the screen distorted. The words rearranged themselves. There is no no. Liam's phone vibrated violently. The closet door in the video swung open completely. A final message flashed before the app crashed. Welcome to your new life. Liam didn't remember downloading the photo. He was sure of it. And yet, there it was staring back at him from his phone's gallery. A single image titled look_once.jpg. A part of him knew he shouldn't open it. Not after everything that had happened. Not after the emails, the cursed live stream, the chatbot that knew too much. But curiosity had always been his weakness. He tapped the file. The image was simple. A dimly lit hallway. Old wallpaper peeling at the edges. A single flickering light bulb casting elongated shadows against the walls. The floor looked damp, reflecting the dim glow above. And at the very end of the hallway a figure. Not moving. Not detailed. Just standing there. Watching. Liam exhaled sharply. His skin prickled. Something about the photo felt wrong. His eyes drifted across the details, something about the proportions, the perspective. It looked real, but unreal at the same time. He looked away for just a second. When he looked back, the figure had moved. It was closer now. Liam's breath caught in his throat. He hadn't touched the phone. He hadn't swiped or zoomed in. But the figure was now standing halfway down the hall. He locked his phone screen. His heart pounded. He told himself it was a glitch. Some kind of visual bug. Maybe a trick of his mind. Then his phone buzzed. New notification, look again. Liam swallowed. His fingers trembled as he unlocked the screen. The photo had changed. The figure was closer. Just a few feet away now. Too close. Its face was still blurred, indistinct, but he could feel it. It was looking at him. A new message appeared on the screen. Unknown, you can't stop now. Liam's entire body was locked in place. His mind screamed at him to delete the photo, to throw his phone across the room, to not look again. But then his screen glitched. For a fraction of a second, the hallway flickered. The lighting shifted. The shadows stretched longer. The figure was right in front of the camera. And then the photo went completely black. Another message appeared. Unknown, turn around. Liam's hands shook violently. He didn't move. His phone screen flickered again, and for a moment, it wasn't a photo anymore. It was a live feed. From behind him, something was standing in the room. The moment he turned, the lights in his apartment flickered out. His phone buzzed one last time before the screen died completely. Unknown, now I see you too. Liam had sworn off anything digital. No more emails. No more strange messages. No more cursed images. And yet, his computer turned on by itself. The screen flickered, a command prompt flashing open. Lines of code scrolled down rapidly, faster than his eyes could follow. The words appeared in blood-red text. Installing, cursed_game.exe. Liam's stomach dropped. His fingers moved on their own, scrambling to shut it down. Ctrl+Alt+Del force quit. Unplug the power. Nothing worked. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the scrolling stopped. The screen went black. A single line appeared. Welcome, player. Liam exhaled shakily. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. The only option was to type back. Who are you? The screen flickered. I've been waiting. A new window opened. A game interface. Pixelated, crude, like an old 8-bit horror game. The title screen glowed eerily. Cursed game, press enter to begin. Liam hesitated. His gut told him this was another trap. Another trick. But his curiosity, his obsession, had already pulled him in. He pressed enter. The game loaded. A dark, pixelated corridor stretched before him. A small character, barely more than a few pixels, stood in the middle of the screen. It looked like him. The character moved. But Liam hadn't touched the controls. He sat back, heart hammering. The game played itself. His tiny pixelated doppelganger walked down the corridor. Doors lined the walls, each one locked. The sound of footsteps echoed, distorted, and wrong. Then, a prompt appeared. Choose a door. 2 doors were highlighted, one red, one black. The character hesitated. Then, without Liam pressing anything, it moved toward the black door. The screen flickered. The door creaked open. Inside was a room. A computer sat in the center. A pixelated version of a desk. And on the screen of the in-game computer, a live feed. Of Liam. His real-life webcam feed. His hands turned ice cold. The character in the game didn't move, didn't blink. Just stood there, staring at the screen, watching him through the pixels. Then the screen changed again. A message appeared. Would you like to quit? Yes. No. Liam slammed his fingers onto the yes key. The screen glitched. The cursor flickered. The word yes distorted, rearranging itself. There is no exit. A guttural static buzzed through his speakers. The pixelated screen zoomed in closer, closer, until all he could see were two dark, empty eyes staring back at him. Then the lights in his apartment cut out. His monitor blinked once. A final message appeared. Now you play for real. Had stopped fighting it. It wasn't just emails. It wasn't just images. Now, even games were trying to pull him in. But the worst part? He couldn't tell what was real anymore. When he woke up that morning, his laptop was already open. The screen glowed softly in the dark, waiting for him. A single file sat in the middle of his desktop. Top_secret.docs. No date. No size. No trace of when or how it appeared. Liam's stomach twisted. He knew better than to open it. But something was different this time. Something about the way the file just sat there silent, patient made it worse. He clicked it. A prompt appeared. Enter password to unlock. Liam frowned. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. What password? Then, his phone buzzed. New message received. Unknown, you already know it? Liam's throat tightened. His fingers trembled as he typed instinctively. Welcome_back_666. The document opened. Inside, just a single line of text. Look behind you. Liam froze. His entire body locked in place. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. Then, his screen flickered. The text changed. Good choice. Now let's begin. The document expanded. More text filled the page, line after line, paragraph after paragraph. Liam's eyes widened as he read. It was his life. Every moment. Every memory. Every secret. Dates. Times. Places. Things no one could possibly know. Things even he barely remembered. But the worst part? The last entry was from tomorrow. March 12 to 3:42 a.m., Liam turns to face me. Liam's hands turned ice cold. His phone buzzed again. New message received. Unknown, it's almost time. The screen glitched. The document erased itself, letter by letter, until all that remained was one final message. You shouldn't have opened this. Then, his laptop shut off on its own. The room was silent. Then his phone buzzed. A new document appeared on his screen. Final_entry.docs. Liam's breath caught in his throat. The timestamp on the file was set for 5 minutes from now. Check your spelling or try different keywords. Liam barely slept anymore. The files. The messages. The voices. It was all building towards something. But he didn't know what. Then his phone rang. No caller ID. Just an unknown number flashing on the screen. He hesitated, fingers trembling over the screen. He shouldn't answer it. But he did. Silence. Then, a voice. His own. Liam. Listen carefully. You don't have much time. Liam's blood ran cold. He nearly dropped the phone. His voice on the other end sounded strained, desperate. This is you. Tomorrow. 3:42 a.m. You have to get out. Now. Liam's breath came in shallow gasps. No. No, this isn't. The voice cut him off. Don't argue. Don't ask how. Just listen. You have until 3:42 a.m. If you're still there, it will take you. Liam's heart pounded. His pulse roared in his ears. He turned to glance at the clock on the wall. 3:37 a.m. 5 minutes. His future self's voice was urgent now. It knows you're listening. It's watching right now. Liam turned toward his laptop. The screen flickered to life on its own. A video feed. His apartment. The camera angle was wrong. It wasn't from his phone or his laptop. It was from behind him. Liam's breath caught. His body went rigid. He wanted to turn. He wanted to run. But the voice in his ear whispered one final warning. Don't turn around. Silence. The call ended. Liam's phone slipped from his fingers. The clock on the wall ticked to 3:41 a.m. 1 minute left. The screen of his laptop flickered again. A single line of text appeared on the video feed. It's your turn now. Liam had made a mistake. Ignoring the warnings. Ignoring his future self. Ignoring the messages. It had all led him here to the moment he realized there was no escape. His phone screen blinked to life on its own. New notification, live feed active. He wasn't streaming. He wasn't recording. But his camera was on. The feed showed his apartment. The same dim lighting. The same cluttered desk. Then, the screen flickered. A second window opened. Another camera feed. But this one wasn't from his phone or his laptop. It was from the ceiling corner of his room. Liam's pulse pounded. He didn't own a ceiling camera. Then, another window popped up. A third angle. This one was from inside his closet. His breath caught. He turned toward the closet door. It was closed. Locked. But on the screen, the feed showed something else. The door was open. Something was moving inside. Liam's phone vibrated violently. New message, why are you still here? He scrambled to close the windows. Nothing worked. The screens flickered. More feeds opened. Angles that shouldn't exist. Views from inside his walls. Under his bed. Then the final window appeared. A live feed. Not from his apartment. From outside his building. A figure stood at his window. Watching. His phone buzzed again. New message, look behind you. Liam's hands shook. His breath came in ragged gasps. He knew he shouldn't. He knew it was a trap. But then his screen glitched one final time. The live feed from his room changed. It was no longer showing him sitting at his desk. It was showing him standing. Right behind himself. The camera hadn't been watching him. It had been watching something pretending to be him. And it was smiling. Then the cameras all shut off at once. Darkness swallowed the room. His phone buzzed. New message, now it's your turn. Liam's world had stopped making sense. The cameras. The messages. The figure watching from the shadows. It was all leading up to something. Something final. And then his laptop screen flickered one last time. A single message appeared. Final transmission initiated. A progress bar filled the screen. Slowly. Methodically. 0%. 1%. 2%. Liam's breath hitched. His fingers moved on their own, desperately smashing the keyboard. Nothing worked. New notification, live broadcast started. His heart nearly stopped. He wasn't broadcasting. But the screen told a different story. He was live. To an unknown number of viewers. And the screen wasn't showing him sitting at his desk. It was showing him standing by the window. Liam whipped around. Nothing. But when he turned back to the screen, the Liam in the video smiled. Then, the fake Liam lifted his hand and waved. Liam's entire body locked up. He wasn't moving. He wasn't waving. But his reflection was. His phone buzzed violently. New message, it's time. The progress bar on his laptop hit 50%. The fake Liam tilted its head. Its smile widened. Then, step by step, it began walking toward the camera. Toward him. Liam scrambled backward. His chair toppled over. His breath came in ragged gasps. The screen flickered again. The fake Liam was closer now. And then the screen glitched. The figure was no longer smiling. It was opening its mouth. Too wide. A void of darkness. Endless. And then the speakers crackled. A sound leaked through. Liam's own voice. Final transmission, complete. The screen cut to black. His laptop powered off. The room was silent. For a moment, he thought it was over. Then his phone vibrated. New message, welcome to your new life. Liam had spent days trying to convince himself that it was over. That whatever had been haunting him watching him was finally gone. But deep down, he knew better. His phone buzzed. New notification, final file received. His chest tightened. His fingers hovered over the screen. He didn't want to open it. He didn't want to see what was inside. But he had no choice. The file name was simple. last_known_file.exe. His laptop powered on by itself. The screen flickered to life. The file opened automatically. A command prompt filled the screen, lines of code scrolling faster than he could read. Then, the text changed. Rebuilding file system. Liam's breath caught. The cursor blinked. The screen distorted, flickering between reality and something else. Then, a video file appeared. It had no name. No timestamp. But the thumbnail was clear. It was Liam. Sitting in his room. He hesitated. His pulse pounded in his ears. He clicked play. At first, nothing moved. It was just a still frame of him, frozen in place. His face was expressionless, his posture rigid. Then, his video self blinked. Liam hadn't moved. His reflection had. His stomach twisted into knots. His hands turned cold. Then, the screen glitched. The Liam in the video tilted his head. Slowly. Deliberately. Then he smiled. Liam slammed his laptop shut. His breath came in sharp gasps. He turned away from the screen, heart hammering against his ribs. Then his phone vibrated. New message, look behind you. His body locked up. The air around him felt heavier, colder. He wasn't going to turn. He wasn't going to fall for it this time. Then the message changed. You already did. His phone screen flickered. It showed a live feed. Of him. Not sitting at his desk. Not staring at the screen. But standing directly behind himself. A hand reached toward the camera. His own hand. Then everything went dark. Liam never saw the next message. File successfully replaced. Was gone. At least, that's what the files said. His phone, his laptop, his entire digital existence had been rewritten. His name no longer appeared in contacts. His emails had vanished. His accounts were locked, passwords changed to something unknown. And yet he was still here. His phone vibrated. New notification, unknown device detected. His fingers trembled as he unlocked the screen. A new file had appeared. No name, no extension, just a blinking cursor waiting for input. A single message appeared. Do you want to continue? Yes. No. Liam's breath hitched. His fingers hovered over the screen. He had tried to escape before. He had tried to say no. But no had never been an option. He tapped yes. The screen flickered. A new text appeared. Welcome back. His laptop powered on by itself. The desktop was empty, wiped clean except for one file. Liam.exe. His pulse pounded in his ears. He clicked it. A loading bar filled the screen. Restoring file. 1%. A distorted voice crackled through the speakers. Not a recording. Not a message. It was him. Breathing. Restoring file. 10%. Liam's reflection flickered on the screen. But it wasn't a reflection. It was a recording. Of him. From 5 minutes ago. His movements, his breath, everything was slightly off. Delayed. Wrong. Restoring file. 50%. The voice on the recording spoke. Almost there. Liam's stomach clenched. He hadn't said that. He tried to exit. The mouse wouldn't move. The keyboard was dead. His phone buzzed violently in his hand. New message, you should have never come back. The file finished loading. Restoration complete. The screen cut to black. Then, the webcam light blinked on. A new image loaded. It was Liam. But he wasn't sitting at the desk anymore. He was standing behind himself. And he was smiling. The last message appeared before everything went dark. You are no longer needed. Liam didn't remember logging in. But somehow, he was already inside. His screen blinked to life, revealing a single web page. Welcome back, Liam. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He hadn't typed that. He hadn't entered any credentials. But the system knew. It always knew. A notification popped up. Last log out, never. His chest tightened. That wasn't possible. He had shut everything down. He had unplugged his router, thrown his laptop into a drawer, ignored every message. But the account had never closed. New message, why did you try to leave? Liam's breath hitched. He tried to log out. His cursor moved toward the exit button. The system glitched. Error, cannot log out. His screen flickered. The web page distorted, the text twisting into something unreadable. And then, a new window opened. A live feed. It showed him. But it wasn't from his laptop camera. It wasn't from his phone. It was from somewhere, above. Like someone or something was watching him from the ceiling. New notification, session extended. Liam scrambled backward, his chair screeching against the floor. He looked up. The ceiling was empty. But his screen told a different story. A shadow moved. Slowly. Deliberately. His cursor jumped on its own. New message, there is no logging out. Liam's breathing turned ragged. He tried to power down the laptop. The screen blinked. The log out button disappeared. And then, the worst part. Another login appeared. New user detected. A second name materialized beneath his. Liam, 1, and then another. Liam, 2, then another. Liam, 3, his hands turned ice cold. His pulse pounded in his ears. The numbers kept climbing. The screen flickered one last time before showing the final message. There is only one account. And now, there is only one Liam. Then his screen went black. And something whispered from behind him. Logging you in now. Liam's world was collapsing. Or maybe, it had already collapsed. His screen flickered violently, flashing between reality and something else, something corrupted. The words on his screen twisted and bled into one another. Error, final glitch detected. He tried to move, but his body felt distant, disconnected. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, but they weren't his anymore. His reflection in the screen didn't blink when he did. It didn't move when he did. It just watched. Then, the words changed. Last chance, fix the error. A single button appeared. Accept. Liam's breath came in short gasps. He knew better than to press it. He knew nothing good would come from it. But there was no other option. No exit. No logout. He pressed it. The screen turned black. Then, a voice crackled through the speakers. Rewriting system. His laptop screen blinked back to life. But now, it wasn't showing a web page. It was showing a command prompt. Lines of code scrolled by faster than his eyes could follow. Then, the worst part. A new line appeared. User, Liam.exe initialized. His stomach twisted into knots. A video feed popped up in the corner of the screen. It showed a figure. Sitting at his desk. Typing. It was him. But he wasn't typing. The Liam on the screen slowly turned his head. His movements were wrong, too slow, too precise. He locked eyes with Liam through the screen. Then he smiled. New notification, final glitch complete. The screen flickered one last time before the system rebooted itself. Then, silence. Liam's laptop powered down. And when he looked at his reflection in the dark screen, it blinked first.